The architecture of clarity, building a framework for a well-ordered mind. How do you bring order to a noisy world and a restless mind? We live surrounded by information, yet starved for coherence. Knowledge piles up in fragments, quotes, lessons, experiences, but without a structure to hold them together, we drift, react, and repeat old patterns. The architecture of clarity offers a blueprint for building a well-ordered mind. Drawing on philosophy, psychology, history, and lived experience, it shows how to weave scattered insights into a living framework. A structure flexible enough to grow with you, strong enough to steady you, and clear enough to guide your choices with confidence. This is not a book of rules, but an invitation to design your own inner architecture, one that helps you distinguish what matters from what doesn't, align your values, beliefs, and actions, and withstand life's uncertainty without losing your way. Because the most important map you will ever carry is the one you create for yourself. Preface. This book grew out of years of collecting, examining, and refining ideas, sometimes in the margins of books, sometimes in conversations, sometimes in the quiet pages of a private journal. Over time, these fragments began to form something more than a collection. They began to connect. I didn't set out to write about mental architecture. I set out to understand my own thinking. Why I made certain choices, why some seasons of life felt aligned and others scattered, why knowledge sometimes brought clarity and other times confusion. What I discovered is that information alone isn't enough. Even wisdom in scattered pieces can leave you lost if it doesn't connect into a usable whole. The turning point was the creation of Cloud Mind, my personal archive of principles, insights, and tested truths drawn from philosophy, psychology, history, and lived experience. Over time, Cloud Mind became more than a repository. It became a laboratory, a place where ideas were tested against each other, refined, and integrated into a living structure. This book distills that process. It is not a manual for adopting my framework, but a guide for creating yours. You will see examples drawn from my own principles, what I call the guideposts for living wisely. But they are here to serve as models, not mandates. A well-ordered mind is not a rigid one. It is clear, adaptable, and grounded. My hope is that as you move through these chapters, you will not only design a framework that serves you well, but also learn how to keep it alive for the rest of your life. Because the world will change. You will change. And the only way to navigate both with clarity is to carry a structure of thought that is both strong and flexible, principled and adaptive. This is your mind's architecture. Let's build it well. Introduction: The mind is a mapmaker. Most people carry an unassembled puzzle in their heads. They have bits of wisdom, scattered experiences, fragments of advice from parents or books, flashes of insight that arrive during quiet moments, but no unifying picture to bring them together. When life's complexity rises, they reach for whichever piece is nearest, often without checking if it fits the situation. The result is a patchwork of thinking, sometimes brilliant, sometimes contradictory, often fragile under stress. This book, The Architecture of Clarity, Building a Framework for a Well-Ordered Mind, is about building the picture. A coherent mental framework is the architecture of your understanding, the way your beliefs, values, and knowledge connect into a whole. It's the difference between carrying a bag of disconnected tools and having a well-organized workshop. We live in an age of information abundance and meaning scarcity. Every day, you are exposed to more data points, opinions, and competing narratives than a person a century ago might have encountered in a year. Without a strong internal structure, the mind becomes reactive, bouncing from one idea to the next, swayed by the loudest voice or the most immediate feeling. Clarity is not about having the final truth. It's about having a reliable way to take in new truths, test them, fit them into the whole, and adjust without collapsing the structure. It's the mental equivalent of a well-engineered bridge, designed to carry weight, to flex under stress, and to last. This book will give you a process for identifying your anchor points, the core principles that steady you, tools for connecting your ideas, testing them, and keeping them reality-aligned, practices for making your framework a living, adaptable structure. The ideas here have been forged and refined in Cloud Mind, a personal library of insights tested across disciplines and over time. They are here not as prescriptions, but as working models to help you design your own mental architecture. The goal is not to make you think like me, it's to help you think more like yourself, only with greater clarity, depth, and resilience.